Okay, so where did we get to last? Yeah, so last stream was a couple of days ago. We got to the point where we've got enemies spawning, different speeds, models, and everything. Got a turret that fires harpoons at our enemies, and we were in the middle of working on this. Well, this is like a placeholder basically, so I'm going to be placing a few of these around the map where the player can position some new turrets. So I created the graphic and I sort of started on the scripts for that, which is I was just trying out different sort of methods at the minute. The first method was obviously just using a raycast on the camera. But then I think the one I'm actually going to use is this on mouse enter, on mouse exit, because it's a bit cleaner. Basically, it doesn't get called every frame like this does. It just gets called once when you either clear these debug messages. So if I hover over it, I'll just get one message, mouse enter, hover off, mouse exit, which is exactly what I want, rather than hundreds of messages all happening at once. Yeah, I suppose other than that, we've got the moment the enemies just go to this sort of exit, if you like. I'm going to flesh out this bit a bit more, probably make it a bit more story to it, because obviously at the minute we just randomly got some creatures spawning and going to the other end, so obviously I'll get a bit more story to it, probably related to the game jam theme, the aquaticness. Yeah, at the minute I'm going to try and implement this turret hotspot and get it so that the player can place some towers. Yeah, so I know that's working, so I'm going to get rid of this one. So what I'm thinking is when the player hovers over the turret spot with a active turret selected, either from the UI or they've pressed a hotkey or something like that, we get like a sort of hologram of what the tower in that spot. What we need to do, so at the minute we don't actually have. We'll have to go back a step. In order to do that, obviously we've got to spawn a placeholder object on the hotspot itself. If I just create a new empty, what should we call this? Our spawn point. I'll do for now. And here I can use that as a basis to just spawn a prefab in. I get a reference to that. Say hologram, but initially it's just going to put a tower there when I'm hovered, and it'll get rid of it when I'm not. Kind of like the first step. So we need to know the spawn point. We need to know what to actually spawn on it. I'll just have this assigned for now, because later on when we create the UI or hotkeys or whatever we end up doing, we'll be changing this. So I'll just put this here for testing. And I probably want these to be serializable so I can access them from Unity. Let's just give it a go actually, shall we? So if we on tower, instantiate, selected tower. And that might be what we need actually. Might have to position it if it's parents at spawn point. We'll see where it spawns. Actually, we want to hold this reference sort of on a class level so that we can access it a bit later. On the tower. Okay, so then we'll just do a check. If spawn tower not null, then we want to destroy the spawn tower. I'm kind of hoping that obviously we put our mouse over the hotspot, spawns a tower on the spawn point. Forgot to put my null there. And then when we leave, we'll move our mouse off the hotspot, it'll disappear. Just save that, if it works. Before we press play, you just want to change the prefab for that one because that's always going to be the same. And that one, just want to spawn Poon Tower. So here goes nothing. There you go, so that's alright. So I've got a bit of an issue at the minute in that the the tower spawned and is already shooting. The reason why the harpoon's not come back is I think I've got a bit of a silly time. Yeah, I've got a silly time in the rate of fire. And actually, before I do anything else, I'm going to disable the mouse scrolling because that's it's annoying when I'm trying to use the Unity menus. Actually, serialize fields. I'm going to disable this for now because that will be make life easier while I'm debugging it. What do you want? Want that to be true, and that to be true, in order for the scrolling to start working. Or obviously use the button. Alright, so yes, if I spawn that looks a bit weird, doesn't it? I think what's happening there is the tower. It'll be the harpoon look, so if I move my mouse where the harpoon isn't, it's not thinking I'm moving my mouse on and off all the time. Whereas with the harpoon there, it does actually do that. That's fine. And then obviously the other issue is scale. I suppose I could just change that in the prefab. That's fine as well. Yeah, let's fix that issue with the harpoon. Well, the reason why it doesn't clash with tower. Well, what was the reason actually? Remember, I was looking at that last time. That's right, because the tower's got a layer ignore raycast. If I show you the well, just a bit of what we went over in last stream, really. So now the tower's spawned, you can see it's got quite a wide range in this sphere collider, which is obviously there to be the range of the tower where it can start attacking. But the problem with that is when the raycast comes from the camera for the mouse over event, it hits this sphere first. So that's why it's important that we just have ignores raycast. I can't really see any reason why we would need. I can't see any reason why not to just have the harpoon ignore raycast as well. So I'm just gonna try that for now. Quick and easy fix, and I think probably the right one. Right, so my harpoon tower. What scale's that then? That scale's 1. And my hotspot scale 2.5. That's probably why once I've added the spawned one, it's appearing bigger. Actually, what I want is I want 2.5 on the model. Although I don't want 2.5 because it's not. Yeah, so the hotspot's rotated. Sorry, the parent one's rotated. I want X and Y, whereas on the hotspot, because it's rotated, I don't want Y. I want Z. But yeah, basically I'm swapping that around so the scale is set on the model itself. Although that means that I need to change my box. Let's just have a look in the actual scene. Yes, it's still the same size. Just adjust our collider. It's a bit awkward with flat objects because you can't quite just go to the side and. Mind you, I've already done the up and down, so I could just use the Y view. Yeah, that's easier. Right, so now it shouldn't flicker, and it should be the correct noise. There we go. Hover over the spear, that's not causing it to flicker anymore. So the next issue is obviously before someone's actually placed a tower, we don't want it to be while doing anything really. So in our tower behavior, yeah, so it's obviously using the update to actually do things. I think they're on trigger enter. It could be an issue that when I spawn a tower and there's already enemies around it, that it's not going to attack anything except for new enemies that come round. So I'm just going to note that down because I probably need to fix that later. So, what do I want? When spawning a tower, needs to collect existing targets missed by enter / exit events. Okay, so I've got a note of that, so I'll come back to that later. Yeah, because obviously you don't want to place a tower down and then it not actually attack anything. At the minute, I've just called the game Aqua Clash. Although I might change that because, yeah, I'm not sure I like it. It's either going to be Aqua Clash or I might make it Aqua Defense. But if you throw me a sub and watch the last stream, that'll hopefully have the final name of the game. So, but yeah, I'm thinking either keep it Aqua Clash or Aqua Defense or something along those lines. Yeah, so looking at this class then, so this is all the behaviors of the tower. I think this bit's fine. This bit's fine to continue when it's a placeholder. I guess for the most part it's just this. We'll just create a public boolean is placeholder. Default is true or false? We'll default it to false. Then obviously in the update, if placeholder I just want it to return. It doesn't do anything basically, it just sits there. Yes, if I just hold that there and then wait for some enemies to come past. It's still firing, so that didn't work. And I just realised why. It's because while I created that, I didn't actually set it in the hotspot. So, spawn tower, instantiate it, but then what I don't do is set the is placeholder. To do that, I need to get tower behavior script. And then just change the is placeholder to false. And then obviously once we've actually placed the tower, we'll change that and it'll start working again. My tower still fired, didn't it? Is that? I'll tell you what, if I remove this, it's probably a sensible check to have anyway, so make sure there's not actually a tower already there. That'll allow me to hover over the hotspot, create the tower, then use the inspector to just see what's going on really. Let's look at tower behavior. Oh, because I just noticed what I've done already. That needs to be set to true, because it is a placeholder. And I've broken it. Yeah, if it's not null, return. I'm gonna put this back actually, because I'm pretty sure that's the reason. Restart it. Yeah, it's not doing anything now, which is what we want. Okay, I guess the next issue is it doesn't actually look like a placeholder. It just looks like a normal tower. I think we can do this with shaders, although I'm absolute beginner when it comes to shaders, so let's have a look this one up. What would you call it? Hologram. Oh, there you go. Hologram shader. About asset store. Okay, so it looks like this one's obviously they've got the shader that makes it sort of glowy, and they've actually got a texture here. I'm not sure if we want all of this. Well, let's try getting this initial shader working. Assets. Create a new folder for shaders. Doesn't say which one to use, does it? Guess we'll just go with standard. Gram shader. Okay, so we've done step 1. And let's create a material for it. Hologram material. I think we'll just go with a similar colour to what he's done. That one. Let's just try put it on this tower here. Okay, so that looks okay. I have to put it. Oh, I guess I have to put it on the tower and also on the projectile. So that looks okay already, actually. What's it saying? Okay, so it says do that. Yeah, that probably makes it even more see-through, actually. Right, so how do I do this then? So obviously I'm going to need to apply this in code. What we've just done manually. We've just assigned shader to the turret and the projectile. And then we assigned texture, material. Can't spell. So that's what we need to do in code then. I guess the bit that's might be a bit difficult is obviously I can get the game object for the tower. I suppose we can just go through all the children and assign the material. I guess we'll need a reference to the hologram material. And then we'll also need a reference. That could be an issue. Because if we need a reference to the texture, it's going to be a different one for the ammo and for the tower. And then not necessarily all towers are going to have, well, just sort of one moving component really. I suppose for the most part we're going to have tower and then some sort of projectile, which has already got a script. I wonder if we can just take it from the existing material actually. I click on that model, is it already assigned? Well, I guess initially we'll just start with a tower and then see how we get on from there. Tower. I don't even know what we'd get. Unity, get material. C#. Looks like what I want. How to get material. Okay, so we need to get component, renderer. In fact, I'm going to store this. Renderer dot material equal to the hologram material. How would we get texture of an object? Is that in the renderer as well? Okay, that's there actually. We get the texture first. Store that in a variable. What's the problem here? Name ID. Okay. Unity, get texture. Main texture property. Okay, so forget that texture. Change the material to the hologram material. Change the main texture on that material. We have our other texture. See if that works. There is no renderer attached. Oh, I've been told to move my announcement. Yeah, I guess that's because my harpoon tower is just kind of an empty object. It doesn't actually have any models on it. Let's get a reference to the model. Spawn tower, get. Well, get component in children actually. Ah, that might be how we do it. I do for each renderer in our tower. Yeah, get components in children. Renderer. Why don't you like that? Ah, because I've got a name variable here. That was a very bad name. Let's get rid of this for now. Oh, nice. No, I'm enjoying doing the participating. Thanks for your comment. It's going okay. I mean, I missed yesterday and the day before because I got a full-time job, so yeah, I'm getting by with what time I've got, so hopefully I'll get it finished. Yes, if I go through each renderer, that should get, well, all the renderers basically. So now we'll try and do what we just did. We keep track of the texture, material, main texture. Set that equal to the hologram material. I mean, I know nothing about how renderers work, so I'm just sort of guessing it, but let's hope this works. And then that's just a copy of what got in there, so I can get rid of that. Oh, let's see if it works. Done something, because it doesn't quite look right, does it? Just try, actually. Let's ignore all this texture stuff. Try that. In fact, I'd even set the hologram material. Oh, I didn't. That would help, wouldn't it? Let's set that hologram material. Nice. Right, let's see if adding that texture back on works. And comment those. Yeah, that's alright, although it's a bit too see-through, isn't it? Let's try changing some of these properties while it's running so we can actually see what's going on. Even work while it's running. Oh, it does work while it's running. That's not too bad. Alpha scroll speed, what's that? I think this glitch speed must be to do with the next part of that tutorial I was following on here. I wonder if there's a way I can make it brighter. Just give it a lighter colour, maybe that'll work. I guess it's not too bad actually. I mean, the other thing I can do is just ignore that texture bit because it was stronger when we before we added that. Yeah, you know what? I think that's fine without that texture. We're not actually making a hologram, as in what this article's thinking, so I don't even think we need that glitch effect. That's just probably going to be a bit confusing actually. I think that's probably fine. What values is that? Well, that started at 0.5. 0.7. We'll stick with 0.7, that seems okay. I mean, we've still got this glitch speed and glitch intensity on there, which we're not using, but I'll just leave them there for now. Yeah, we've done those. So yeah, we'll just get rid of those. Let's just make sure it still works with the, if we had a few hotspots. Yeah, that's what we want. I think we can't really have any weird things with the, like say we had like a weird side angle like that on the camera. It can't really happen because we've restricted already all the angles that the camera can be at. It looks alright there. Yeah, looks fine. That was easier than I thought it would be actually. I thought that would be a little bit tricky. So what do we want to do now? In fact, we probably want to store. Might need to store the old materials. I'm just thinking, so we'll click this to make it permanent and then the material will still be changed. Is it just like a simple reset material? That would be very useful. Reset material. I think we're just going to have to remember it. Let's just check there's nothing in here that I'm missing. No. Okay, so what's the best way to do this then? If we just store a list of materials, old materials, maybe original materials. Original materials. Generic. Just new this up so it can't be null. I'm hoping that we can like keep it. It'll keep its order basically. So what we don't want is like, say we've added the renderer for the harpoon in my tower, but then when I come to restore the original material, it's in a different order. Hopefully this will keep the same, and that this also gives me the components in the same order each time. That's fine. And to test it, I'm just gonna put it in the on exit. So instead of destroying it, we will instead of destroying it, what we'll do is we'll just set the material back to it was before. Set it to the first element, and then if I just remove the first element afterwards, move that 0. Yeah, so it should assign it in the first in the order, and then it removes it. So then obviously when next time it comes around, the next one in the list is also 0. Hopefully this works. Let's find out. So now it should look a bit weird because it'll spawn the placeholder, but then it won't actually disappear. It spawned it like that, so if I move it off, hopefully it restores the materials. Ah, there we go. Although I'm not sure why it's doing that. Wasn't expecting it to do anything when I hovered back over it again. Let's just have a look what's going on here. Okay, I basically made it like a toggle. Because when it's it's still going through this because the spawn tower's not null. It's still going through this. So the second time I hover over it, the current material is hologram. Well, it's not hologram. Then it adds the original material to the list, and then the next time it's added original materials as the hologram. But that's fine because this is going to be. Well, we'll extract this to another method. Store original material. I'm not actually using that yet. Yeah, I'm not using that yet until obviously we begin to spawn it. That's the next task, so I guess we could work on that now actually. So we'll just go with left click. So if import.get mouse button down, what does that return? So what button do I pass in there then? Get mouse button down. 0. Left click. We'll see, if not we'll look it up. Button tower is placeholder. I need to get the component, don't I? Get component is placeholder. No longer placeholder. And then I want to call our method to restore the original material. I think actually what we want to do is probably destroy. Do we want to destroy the hotspot object? We could maybe just hide the hotspot. That's probably the easier way. Did something similar on the projectile. What did we do? I thought we did. Yeah, we just disabled the renderer and the collider. Yeah, that's all we need to do. So let's do that. Oops. Let's put it in its own method. Disable hotspot. I've not even got the renderer yet. Or we could just get it on the fly. Get component, renderer. Get component. Collider. In fact, I might call this set enable hotspot, and that's going to take in taking a parameter, and then I can use this later to set it back if I need to. Maybe like sell a tower or something. We don't want it to be enabled. Yeah, so then that should start working. I mean, obviously at some point we'll have to add some sort of currency, because towers are not going to be free, are they? But yeah, does everything that we've got so far. Right, okay. I think that works, except Got a few errors. Right, yeah. If this needs to be null, I'll check to see if it is null. Or if it's not null. What other errors did we get? I'm not sure why it split all these up actually. Ah, right. Each individual hotspot, that's why. Ah, and I made the same mistake that I made initially with this. Obviously the hotspot itself doesn't actually have a renderer. I'm gonna need 2 loops, aren't I? I'm not really hoping to, well, obviously I hope to win, but I'm not really expecting to win. I mean, it's my first game jam, so see what happens, but yeah, good luck on your own game. Yeah, so we want the same thing here, but for colliders. And then, yeah, there were an issue where, obviously, it's still destroying the tower on exit. I guess we'll just have a boolean is hotspot enabled. So start off true. And then just make sure it's enabled before we do anything. What's going on with these? Can I tidy these up? I guess that's fine as is. Placeholder still works. Yeah. Yeah, obviously what's happened there is it spawned the tower. Then I'm disabling the renderer and the collider for it. So what we need to do oops. We need to just do a check, I guess. Make sure the renderer, well, if the renderer is the same as the spawn tower, renderer, continue, because I want to skip that one, and then same for collider. Ah, but that doesn't quite work, does it? Because then that's another loop. It's another loop because the spawn tower itself doesn't actually have the renderer component. The children of spawn tower have the components, which is why obviously we're using the components in children here. Okay. Let's move over there a bit. Spawn tower. Get component. Can't spell. No, any link with any of the renderers equal the renderer. That makes sense. With any of the renderers is the same as any of the renderers in the spawn tower. I mean, I think it works, but is it? Might not be the most efficient way to do it. I feel like I've got a lot of get components in this class. Which is obviously not the cheapest operation in the world. Well, we'll just roll with it for now. Some of this project source files refer to API that has changed. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I added link, so. And it doesn't work. What if I do it a different way? Well, I'm gonna have to do it a different way because that way doesn't work, does it? So render a game object. What's the best way to do this? I'm not gonna say if the game object equals to the spawn tower, then it becomes tricky because of the hierarchy. You know what's probably easier actually? I think if we just set these manually. I mean, the hotspot's only going to have. I mean, we're trying to do it all dynamic, but the hotspot's only going to have like 2 components. We just set that here. Then we're sure we're not going over anything that we don't need to. So private. Render. Hotspot renderer. And same thing again, but for collider. Why didn't I do this before? This is much easier. Trying to make it more complicated than what it needs to be, that's why. Hotspot renderer comes from the model. The box collider is on the parent. Okay, so the hovering still works. There we go, place tower. It works. Although what happened to that one's harpoon? Oh, it's back again. No, it came back a bit. What happened to that harpoon? Oh, that one's doing it as well. It's just the rate of fire. Harpoon tower. Rate of fire 1. My harpoon's over there. My harpoon is very, very, very lost. I'm thinking what's happened there is 2 towers have tried to shoot the same object. And then obviously one of them got there first, and then the others are still sort of trying to hit their target, which didn't get cleared when the object died. But broadly speaking, that hotspot seems to work now. Just try again. Yeah, so they fired at the same time, and then this one, yeah, this one's now lost. Oh dear, what's going on there? When I'm clicking, it's changing. I don't know why. Why is that changing the others? I'm not sure if that's highlighting a deeper problem. Anyway, let's make a note of those. So we've got projectile 2 fired. Target dies before harpoon gets there. Harpoon goes on forever. And then obviously they've got the renderer issue, which I'm going to have a look at now. It was only happening when I was clicking. I mean, I guess there's not really much else to do other than if it's not enabled, then return. Okay, well that seems to work. Let's have a go at fixing this bug with a projectile. So let's just have an overview of how the projectile works then. So spawns, just gets references, gets fired by the tower behavior. So this tower behavior obviously attached to the tower. On update, it'll look at, well, it'll do some bit of prioritization, basically first in, first out sort of system for the targets. Point towards it, and then it'll fire the projectile. So if it is firing, return. So that's why obviously if it tries to fire again, still got it running. I don't have it running, but you could see when there was no harpoon there, the model was still turning, which is obviously part of this tower behavior. It'll turn. Oops, don't want to drag that code. Part of this code here, it'll look towards the target, and then it calls the fire projectile. As it's already firing, it does this bit, and it doesn't actually do this bit. Where's my projectile gone? I'm losing it. No, there it is. Yeah, so then we've got a stopwatch that starts. This is to do with the rate of fire, basically. So if it fires a projectile and it's too soon before the tower can fire again, it won't actually reset the projectile back into the tower. Obviously, like here, the projectile's sort of sat there in a ready position. It won't go back. Well, as we saw when it was bugged out, it won't go back into the tower until it's actually able to fire again. We do that using the stopwatch. Yeah, so basically just say if it's not had enough time since it got fired, wait. That's all it does before it resets the position. So update, this is obviously the thing that's making it move. I guess if the target dies, it becomes null. So I could just put a simple null check in here. But then it's never going to get reset. So I've got one call to reset position, and that only happens when it actually hits something. But yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so if we just call reset position, it's already got all the timer and everything built in. So we can just say here, if target is null, i.e. destroyed, then what we can do is start our coroutine, reset position. And then we'll just return, because obviously the target's null, so there's no point in doing any of this. And position, yeah, that also resets that it's firing flag, so it won't come back into this loop again either. Although it resets the firing flag, but not after that. So in between calling this the first time, it could come back into here again. Which wasn't an issue on this one, because this obviously only gets called once when the collider gets triggered, whereas this is getting called repeatedly. We need to keep track of that then, so let's just see if we can sort these out. Put my serialized stuff at the top. Private bool is resetting equal to false. Obviously we call this is resetting, it's now true. It's not firing or setting, I don't like that actually. So it is being reset. It's not firing or it's being reset, return. So that sets it to true. And then obviously I want to set it to false, so the next time it fires, it doesn't still think it's being reset. Okay, let's give that a go. We'll just spawn loads. Yep, now they're all coming back. So the harpoon disappears when the target dies. Yep, looks alright. Yep, happy with that. I'll hold off on creating loads of different tower points at the minute. In fact, actually, I'm gonna get rid of this harpoon tower. I'll keep it there for now. In fact, no, I'll move it up here. What do I want to do next? I suppose we've only got one tower at the minute, haven't we? The hotspot has it hard coded. Does it? Does it have it hard coded? Oh, did I change it on here? Oh yeah, changed it on there. Yeah, so that needs to be selected by the user. Okay, so I think some things I need to do. Need to create some UI for selecting tower. I also only have one tower at the minute, so I need to create more towers. Need like a cash system or cash or currency. Probably will use cash. Kind of straightforward. Everyone understands cash. Then I think, well, what else do we need on the UI? Just in general, we're kind of lacking UI all over, really. We could do health bars. The enemies. Need to play our own health, as that's going down, or hopefully not going down if we're winning. Need UI for selecting tower. And then part of this, obviously, we need to play the currency somewhere on the screen. So that'll get started. Yeah, let's start with this top one then. Create some UI for selecting tower. How do we accommodate different size screens for that? Obviously at the minute we can have any sort of screen we want, but as soon as if I say, I don't know, a 1080p sort of size selection area for turrets in there, as soon as you make the game smaller, it's not going to work anymore. In fact, if I just noticed another bug there, zoom out. Oh yeah, because I've made the game window smaller, I can see further. What's the field of view look like? That field of view looks like ridiculous, i.e. beyond our cap. Where did I put that now? Where did I put my camera? Is that in player? That's it, player main camera. It still says field of view is 85. I might come back that later. Not really an immediate issue. I mean, I guess most people for the jam, they just have it full screen in the browser rather than like extremely widescreen. Not really an immediate issue. I'll note it down. Bug. I'm a bit confused actually because I've got the. I don't know if you remember earlier, I was talking about how when a tower first spawns, I'd have to collect all the targets, but I guess I don't because this must be getting triggered as soon as it gets spawned. If I spawn this tower, it's gonna start attacking some of these. Well, let's just delete some of these. Oops. I'll show you because obviously at the minute the enemies are all getting killed. If I spawn that one, it fired over there. That must be not an issue. Okay. Tower. That's how I think. How do we want it to look? I wonder if we should have like a window along the vertical edge. And if someone's on mobile, it doesn't really matter too much about the aspect ratio because if someone's on mobile, it can still appear there. I think we'll think about that later because at the minute we've only got one tower, which is going to fit on any size screen. Okay, let's see if we can design some. Also see while that's loading if we can get any examples. Tower defense, tower selection. If we can find any examples of what other people have done. Yeah, so you could also do it like a bit like this actually. So You click and then there's like a pop out. Although coming as a previous StarCraft player, I like the idea of just being able to come across to my game, pressing, I don't know, H or 1 or whatever, and just click, 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 and just buy whatever I need, rather than sort of click, harpoon tower, click, harpoon tower. Seems a bit long-winded. See what else we've got in here. And that's probably somewhat what it's going to look like initially. I'm not exactly the best artist in the world. And there's this one, what's this? Oh yeah, that could be useful actually, it being able to pause or fast forward the waves. Assuming these must be the hotspots in that case, they must have some sort of pop-out window because there's nothing on screen there. Always something on the side, and then we'll try it, see what it looks like. But first, I need to go to the toilet real quick, so I'll be right back. Right, I'm back. So, I have no idea what I'm doing. Let's see what we can create here. Well, first of all, we don't want a colour on our background, do we? Gonna change that. Just create a new layer. You know what, actually, I might just... I'm thinking I might just put the hotkeys in first. Get it working, and then maybe design some UI later, sort of all together. That's a good design. I don't know how pixelated it needs to be. How pixelated do we need to be for a pixel game jam? Oops, that's... If we go for a grayscale, I can sort of change the colours in Unity. That work? I'm just thinking it makes it look more pixelated if I do it like this. I did like a line like that rather than... Oh no, it looks okay like that as well. Okay. I always forget how to use GIMP. The line tool to draw. The paths tool. Stroke path. Nothing happened. I can't even see what's going on with this. Okay. I don't know how to be. Not what I want. I'm kind of looking for just like a simple, well, I think it's simple. So a simple line. Stroke path. Has it not done it? Oh, I've got the wrong layer selected. There we go. Obviously that's not a straight line, is it? But that's kind of the idea I was going for. So we've got that there, and then you'd have like a tower 1 there, tower 2, tower 3. You know, obviously your game's over here. Yeah, let's run with that. I think actually what I'll do... I think first of all I need to make my canvas smaller, because that's way too big. Canvas size. Width 200. Height. Let's make it 800. Well, that still looks massive, doesn't it? I guess the issue now is my layer's too big. I can always change that later. I think for the most part, it's into fill this in. And then what shapes have I got on it? Oh, this is quite small. I don't think I can make it bigger. I've got pepper shape, I'm sure that'll be great. Yeah, that works, doesn't it? I was thinking about freehanding it, but that's not going to go too well, is it? Over there. But let's just have a look, see if there's a GIMP line tool. Straight line tutorial. Kind of makes you think it's not great if you have to look up a tutorial on how to draw a straight line. Give this a go. Okay, so if I press shift, I can draw a straight line like that. But can I do it with this? Ah, I can. Nice. Right, so I want this to start on 0, 0. My ruler on the side. I'm using the ruler because I want to make sure I get the same on both. And then if I go for 100, starting at 790, so we want to remove 100. That's 690. There. That should be the same. None. Let's erase this properly. It's kind of hard to see. Hard to see what I'm doing here. Let's just make this. I was going to make it a blue colour, why is that not working? Ah, I didn't have it viewed. So now if I go back on that one, erase. It's not amazing, but I can see my cursor a bit better. I can also see a bit better like where I'm supposed to be removing as well. Use my new shift trick that I've found. Get rid of a lot of it. Okay, so let's have bit of a darker line. What I kind of want is just sort of fill in this section when it's a bit darker. I know what to do. Select that section, border. Not quite what I want. If I shrink it, say that in the border. If I shrink that, yeah, that's kind of what I want. Make this a bit lighter. And now what I want to do is create some boxes. I just create one and then I can copy it, kinda. Select none. This is my, what would I call this? Panel. Right, let's undo this, because that doesn't look very distant, does it? I don't get why it's bleeding over the edge. Really? Try this again. Select. Shrink. Yeah, that's fine. One's the background, if you like. There's rename. Can't find rename. Background. Okay, so let's go with this. Create one item. I guess actually what we want is colour. That's going to be like the border. Do the same thing again, so we'll shrink that. Probably not by 20, that's too much. 8. Yeah, that's okay. But slightly darker colour. Although this could end up being, yeah, because we're going to need like a thumbnail, aren't we, for each tower. I'm not sure how much this actually matters, to be fair. I'll make it a different colour anyway. Okay. None. Now we need multiple of these. Oops, I press Ctrl D, that's not what I want, is it? How do you duplicate layer? There you go, duplicate layer. Same. Move it down. I'm not sure how many towers I'm going to have. I've only allowed myself. Oops. I've only allowed myself. I forgot. I'm going to get 5 towers on here, aren't I? Well, I don't really have much time to finish the game, so that's probably enough for now. 5 towers there. Let's go with that. Because I don't really know what I'm doing, so we'll see if it even works first. Or if I'm wasting my time. Tower. What? I don't know why it keeps typing down there, buddy. Tower. Selection UI. And then we'll save the actual GIMP file as well. Right. We'll move these hotspots. We need to tidy this up a bit. We'll move these hotspots. They're part of the map. Probably wants its own category. Environment, go in there. Right, okay, so let's go with, let's create by a canvas. Remember how to do this? That's my full screen, right? So if I add UI, actually I'm not even in ever. Let's put that in there. Probably want another folder for UI. Into a sprite. What height did I have in my image here? Should make it the same canvas size. Width to width. It wants to be the same sort of ratio. It's 100 width, it wants to be 400 height. Let's just try it with the original. That's just way too big. You want it to be sort of prominent on the screen, but you don't want it to be getting in your way. Yeah, the idea behind choosing the white colours when designing it was I could change the colours, but it's not really got the effects that I wanted. I might go back and change that later. I think it's a little bit too big there as it is. Let's go with 150. What'll that be? 600. Nice, we've got some UI there. Right, okay. I think because I've not got much time left. Or I need to take a break. What I'll do is I'll just get some images that I can use as placeholders. Best way to do that. Just yes. Always hide grid lines. Okay, let's go back to GIMP. How big's that square? Actually, I just get a tower slot. Shrink. Right, there we go. So I've got the size now that I need. Copy that. Keep one. Now this is the same size. Don't need a background for this. Oh, I just want to paste tower in there. I want to scale that. Sort of roughly do it initially. I can zoom in. scaled. Nope. Get rid of the blue bits. Let's try this one. Harpoon tower. Thumbnail. Fort. A new folder here. Towers. Drop in our thumbnail. I just realised I'm reading that wrong. Why is that got a capital? And that wants to be a sprite. This is the another image. Let's call it slot 1. That's going to have a harpoon tower there. I just need to scale this now to be the same size as the, the slot. Yeah, I think that's probably fine. I mean, eventually we'll probably want like, I don't know, text. Let's import text mesh there. Text Mesh Pro. I think that looked okay with the blue colour. Text, what should this be? It's just going to be like an example cost. So I don't know, let's say this costs 100. I'll improve that later, but I guess it's just about getting a bit of a feel for what it might look like, really. Yeah, so you're in the collected tower. Kill some enemies. Kill some fish. Obviously that didn't just work. I need to code that. Yeah, I think that's a good place to stop. I'll take a break for lunch and then come back in a bit. So subscribe to make sure you don't miss part 2. Thanks for tuning in.